Have you ever tried to do the right thing and then you get in trouble for it? Yeah, me too. It's really all about intentions. You're intending on doing the right thing on most days, all the time. So you stop at that stoplight at 2 o'clock in the morning because why? There's a stop sign there. And then you think, well, no one else is even out, but you still stop. You see something on the ground and you pick it up and you think, geez, maybe I should keep this. No, I shouldn't because I would want somebody to give it back, whatever it is, your phone, a wallet, whatever. Well, today's episode is about intention. Let me tell you a quick story. So I was driving and there's two ways out of this particular place. And I saw the sign and it says, do not go left. It's a no left turn sign. We've all seen them. You can only go right. I needed to go left. But more importantly, I couldn't go right. You see, all these cars were stacked up at the light. They were blocking. And so I couldn't go to the right. Well, here's what happens. A fire truck pulls up behind me. Fire truck is blaring its horn. It's got the sirens on. It's going brr, 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 really loud. I think to myself, I think, self, I need to get out of the way of this fire truck and I need to do it immediately now because somebody needs help. There's a fire, there's something that this fire truck is going to, and I'm holding up traffic. So what do? I make a left turn, of course. I make a left turn, I get over to the side, I wait because that's what you're supposed to do, right? Right. The fire truck passes me, it's on its way. I start going. A few blocks later, though, a police officer pulls me over. And I think, huh, that's weird. But he comes up to the car and he says, do you know why I pulled you over? I say, no, sir. I have absolutely no idea why. And he says, because you made that left turn. So I start laughing because that's what you're supposed to do, right? When a police officer pulls you over, you start laughing. Yeah, no, don't. I do not recommend this. I say, well, here's the thing, officer. There's a fire truck behind me. Obviously, if he saw me make a left hand turn, then he knew there was a truck behind me that needed to get out. And this was a reason why. So I thought if I just stated my case to him, that he would understand. I was wrong. Not wrong, but dead wrong. So he gets my license, my registration. He runs all that stuff. He comes back and he says, I'm going to give you a ticket. And I think, "What? What is he talking about?" I was getting out of the way for a fire truck that was behind me that had a place to go. Obviously, he didn't really care. So he writes me up a ticket, and I am so pissed because I'm thinking, I tried to do the right thing here. And the right thing was to get out of the way of the fire truck. Now, there was a sign that said no left turn. Remember that? Well, I thought, well, I guess I did technically make a left turn. So I say to the police officer, I said, well, I guess the lesson for today is if there's a fire truck behind you and needs to get out, don't make a left turn. Now, that was just me being angry because I'm getting a ticket, which, mind you, this is ticket, the first ticket that I have ever received in my life. Yes, the first ticket. Not even a speeding ticket up until this point. And it wasn't a speeding ticket. It was making a left turn when you're not supposed to, whatever that ticket is called. Anyway, then he asked me about the tag on my car. Thinking, what are you talking about? Well, inadvertently at the time, I'd switched tags with somebody else that I was living with, and it was by total accident. We never switched it back, and we just put the plates on because it ended up being at the same time of the month. Put one on one car, one on another car. Didn't realize that they were mixed up. Not a big deal. He didn't give me a ticket for that, so yay for me. I proceed on with my day, and I am just fuming, and I'm thinking, "Oh, I can't believe that." And then I thought, brilliant idea here. I have a friend that works for the court system. So I thought, well, hey, I'm just going to call her and I'm going to say, what should I do? Because I have two choices. You pay the ticket or you go to court and you try to fight the ticket. Those are your only two choices. You don't have another one. The ticket is not going to miraculously disappear. It has to be handled. I call her and I say, hey, I explain my whole story. Here's what I did. I made the left. I did this, got out of the way of the fire truck. And she proceeds to tell me this. She says, well, you did make the left turn. And this guy will show up to court and he's going to say that you made the left turn. In my mind, my intentions were great. They were great because I'm thinking I'm possibly saving the life of somebody by getting out of the way. However, I did the wrong thing and then tried to have the right intention by making that left turn. Now, you see, when a fire truck is behind you and it has its sirens on and they're blaring very loud and it's brah, 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 it makes you kind of nervous. And you think, oh my gosh, what do I do? I have to do something. I got to get over. I got to get over because that's what you're trained in when you go to like driving class or school or whatever. But the reality is that my initial response was to, well, make that left turn, which in fact was against the law at that particular intersection. So I thought to myself, instead of being so angry about what I was trying to do that was the right thing, I told myself, hey, this was the wrong thing and I should suffer the consequences. The moral of my story here is if a fire truck is behind you, just sit there. No, that's not it. The moral of the story here is really sometimes it's hard to do the right thing, especially when there's somebody or something that's pushing you to do the wrong thing. Your intentions are great when they're great. And sometimes your intentions, I'm not going to say that they're wrong, but sometimes you have to think about them. Like, how is that going to affect me? Right? Instead of just having good intentions of doing the right thing all the time, how does that affect me? Now, let's just look at this for a second. If I would have stayed there, we're never going to know what would have happened. Would the fire truck have got to the person on time that really needed the help? I don't know. But guess what? I don't know if it ever got there anyway. So there's no point to even think that way. Intentions are about trying to do the right thing, or at least these intentions were. There's some people out there that have different types of intentions, and you all know what I'm talking about there. But I was intending on doing the right thing. I try to do the right thing, and sometimes that right thing you still get in trouble with. Now, it's not about the getting in trouble part. It's more about what your intention was in the first place. If you're always trying to do the right thing, you're probably a pretty good person at heart. If you try to buck the system, then you're probably having the wrong intentions for the wrong reasons. Doing the right thing is sometimes hard. Sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes that uncomfortable conversation that you have to have with your friend because you know that their significant other is cheating and you don't want to be the one to break it to him, but you're just wanting to help because you don't want to see your friend be taken advantage of in that sort of way. That's a tough one. That's a really hard one, but your intentions are pure. You want to tell your friend, you want to help them. Sometimes that's hard. Sometimes the intentions that you have don't really go in a way that you think they would. Sometimes you can get in trouble. For example, my friend, if I had told a friend something like that, maybe she would have been mad at me. And you think of all these things and maybe even overthink it. But it's all about what's in here. It's what's in here that really counts. If your intentions are pure, then I say just go for them. Make sure that you're doing the right thing and you're doing the right thing for you. It might not work out for you, but then again, it might. And intentions are something that you can set ahead of time. Example, getting rid of all the negativity in your life. It's a difficult one because you can get rid of your own, of course, but you can't get rid of the negative people. Intentions are something that you set. You can set them ahead of time. You can kind of think of them on the fly. Some of these intentions can be when you're trying to change something about you. Say you're trying to do something simple, like stop swearing. So you start with the intention, I'm going to stop swearing. I intend to stop swearing. And then for the next, I don't know, put some time on it, 30 days, I'm not going to swear. Now, here's the crazy part about what happens. When you first set an intention of something that you're trying to change, especially if this is a habit, it feels weird, very weird. And you're probably going to fail a few times, and that's okay. So, day one, you're like, I'm not going to swear. And then you do. Well, that's okay. The next time that you think those thoughts or you want to use those words, you just think again. After time, your brain starts to recognize that you're trying to change this. After about, say, 3 weeks, your brain is more consciously aware that this is what you're trying to achieve. The next, say, 3 to 6 weeks after that, then your brain starts to perform this amazing miracle and it creates this habit. So every time that word or that phrase floats into your brain, you kind of just have it float on by, and then you use different words to describe whatever it is. It's really an incredible thing that happens. Now, I'm just talking about something that is an intention for something. If you intend to make changes in your life, the first thing that needs to happen is you need to think about that change. You have to think about, what is that change that I want to make? What am I trying to achieve? And how am I going to achieve it? Now, sometimes these intentions are a lot easier. When we're talking about just swearing, that's a lot easier. But if we're talking about things like stopping smoking or stopping doing drugs or treating somebody kinder. Those things are a little bit more difficult sometimes, especially if your brain is in the habit of doing these more negative type things. So I can promise you this: if you stick with it by first creating that thought in your brain that this is what I want to achieve, my intention is to blank. That's the first step. Now, the second step in that, how? How do you do that? Well, it's simple. I'm going to just quit swearing. That's simple. I'm going to quit treating people negatively. Well, that might be simple or might not. It depends on what your habit is of treating people. I'm going to quit smoking. Now, that's a different one because smoking has a lot of different things that go on in your brain. It releases chemicals in your brain that are feel good chemicals. It releases chemicals that are more of a calming effect. There's a lot of things that go on. So that particular one takes a little bit longer, but I promise you it gets better. I promise you. And it doesn't matter what it is that you're trying to change about yourself. You can change anything. If you want to stop sleeping in the morning, great. Your alarm clock goes off, you push snooze 95 times. Okay. Well, that's a difficult one. Here's what you need to do. The alarm clock goes off. Don't press snooze. Is it hard in the beginning? Absolutely. Change is hard, especially because your brain is wired to create these patterns. So if you've had the pattern of sleeping in for weeks, months, years for that matter, it is very difficult for your brain to be like, oh, yeah, I'm not going to push that snooze button. I'm just going to get up. It's hard. But what you have to do is think it and remind yourself every day that alarm clock goes off. Don't press snooze. Again, the next day, don't press snooze. Don't press snooze. Don't press snooze. Pretty soon, you're reaching over for your alarm clock to turn it off. Because why? Your brain has created this practice of not pressing snooze for so long that now it's subconsciously not pressing snooze. This is an effective tool to rewire your brain by just thinking about something, having an intention of doing something, and then sticking to it. I know it's not as easy as what I'm saying right here, but I will say this: with practice, you can achieve anything. Think it, do it. It's these little tiny victories that you have that you need to celebrate. They're great things. You're making change. You're doing big, huge strides to make your life different, to make your life better. Who doesn't want that? Have the intention of making that little tiny change. And then pretty soon, guess what? You will be able to make bigger changes in your life, and they're going to be a lot easier because you've had practice with all these little ones. That's a wrap for this episode. I just want to thank you so much for listening, and I hope that this episode really helped you. Please like, subscribe to it, send it to your friends, anybody that needs something that's a little bit of a kick saying, hey, you can change by just making these little tiny little changes. Just remember one thing: where you are is where it's at.